Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Safa, I just want to apologize for being a little late. We've been having some technical difficulties on our end with the connection. This is just a sound check to make sure that everyone can hear us. We'll be starting in about 5 minutes. If you're having problems hearing me, please do let us know by sending us a message in the Q&A box. Thank you, and we should, hopefully we'll have everything resolved and we should start in about 5 minutes. Everyone, uh, for accepting our invitation and to join us in our on interoperability and collaboration between financial institutions and mobile money providers. My name is Abdul Kader Ben Brahim, between both the tech institutions and mobile money, and I will be the moderator. So, it's now resolved and will allow us to on the way smoothly. And apologies, and now just to first on just to give you a quick and I am the financial advisor making finance work for Africa Leadership. What I do is my work is mainly focused on supporting, advocate for an enabling environment, create, creating a favorable market condition that is needed really to allow disruptive financial solutions delivered as well to the vulnerable populations on the continent. Issues related to finances and housing finance. So for those of you who don't know our initiatives, maybe finance work for established in G8 Summit 7, that advanced collaboration between African governments, development partners, and private sector and other stakeholders. So we are a platform for advocacy, knowledge, and initiatives on financial sector development in Africa. A secretariat is hosted by the African Development Bank at its headquarters in Abidjan. We facilitate dialogue and exchange of information through our networks. We produce and disseminate research on the African financial sector landscape and advocate for policy change in the African financial sector. A word on our work in digital financial inclusion. So, as I mentioned earlier, we advocate for an enabling and proportionate legal and regulatory environment to advance financial inclusion. We contribute to building a knowledge base for effective applications and use of digital solutions in different sectors, financial obviously, but also energy, agriculture, and SME finance. Recognize the mutual advantages of partnerships with a broader network of organizations with overlapping objectives and programs. And in our facilitation role, we want to support our donors and development partners to play a catalytic role to incentivize and allow market actors to perform more effectively. This is really the premise behind this webinar. It's a webinar series that we run throughout the year. Now, I'll begin by introducing our first speaker today. I just want to quickly run through a few housekeeping items. So today's scheduled to last for 1 hour. Ensure the highest quality of experience. All participants will be muted. Questions can be in the session. Slides and a recording of the presentation will be circulated after we conclude. And please do message the organizers for any issues that you are facing at the moment. So you find our admin person by looking at the MFW for a secretariat tag. And not least, we would like to kindly ask you to take a few minutes to fill in the survey, which will appear as a pop-up once the webinar is over. To introduce our first speaker, Lonica Nooteboom, in 2016 to develop FMO's Fintech strategy. Today is one of the experts in FMO's Fintech team and works to support financial institution clients in adopting financial technology to digitize current practices. She also Fintech opportunities to close the financing gap among women SMEs, smallholder farmers, and entrepreneurs. Prior to Lonica completed a master's degree in African development at the London School of Economics, participated in a global exchange program at Stellenbosch University, South Africa, and worked for BRAC UK as a targeting the ultra-poor advocacy and partnership development intern. So, welcome. If you could start by first introducing FMO and its work in driving financial inclusion.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure to speak here. As said, my name is Lonica Nooteboom, and I'm part of FMO's Fintech team. For those of you who are unfamiliar with FMO, we're the Dutch Development Bank, and we're promoting private sector growth in over 85 emerging markets, where we offer our capital, knowledge, and our networks. We specialize in 3 sectors that we believe have the highest long-term development impact: energy, agribusiness, food and water, and financial institutions. Our mission to empower entrepreneurs to build a better world. And we believe that financial inclusion is really key to achieve this. Access to finance is critical for any entrepreneur to grow their business and contribute to economic growth. Yet, unfortunately, the harsh reality is that over half of the businesses in emerging markets lack the credit they need to thrive. That is a staggering amount. And FMO strongly believes that Fintech provides a solution here. It is a tool to increase financial inclusion. This is why we have a dedicated Fintech team in place to encourage the adoption of Fintech in the financial sector. We work with our existing financial institution client base to support their digitization efforts, and we like to help them reap the benefits that Fintech solutions have to offer.
Okay, so can you give us maybe some examples about how Fintech can help to advance financial inclusion?
I think Fintech can help financial institutions reach new customers and extend their services to the so-called thin line customers. And that means those customers that lack a financial track record. They can enable financial institutions to use alternative data, such as online accounts, social media, or mobile phone data, to create an alternative credit history for the underserved segments of the population. That's one example. Second one, Fintech can also enable you to increase customer engagement. For example, through an automated SMS conversation to engage with your customer at a more personalized level. And Mintos is an example of a Fintech company that provides such a service, and it's very interesting, and I encourage you to take a look at them. Also possible to expand your product offering through Fintech. Think about a blockchain-enabled payment solution for your customers that are abroad, or a peer-to-peer payment platform that operates via a single key in existing messaging applications that are used across the globe, such as WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. I think it's clear that Fintech offers many opportunities, but there's still a challenge on how to get there. And I think in 2 words, how I would describe the current ecosystem of between Fintechs and financial institutions is interoperability and collaboration. So that's exactly the topic of this webinar. Maybe I can elaborate a little bit on that. I would like to use a recent edition of The Economist, which said that the relationship between banks and technology companies is becoming increasingly collaborative. Rather than seeing Fintech companies as a threat or a disruptor, we see Fintechs as part of the ecosystem within financial services. Now, FMO financial institution clients, they indeed acknowledge that Fintech companies are these partners rather than competitors. Why would they spend loads of money on developing new technologies internally when there are entrepreneurs on it offering these solutions ready to deploy within your organization? Through partnerships with companies, financials can focus on becoming an increasingly customer-focused organization. Better management and use of data, new digital banking products, and greater customer engagement all enable better service for unserved customers. In other words, when the scale of a financial institution meets the innovation of a Fintech company, beautiful things can happen for financial inclusion. The benefits of partnerships and creating this interconnected ecosystem between financial institutions and Fintechs are clear. And this will bring many opportunities for both the financial service provider and the end customer. I guess the question that remains is how to establish those partnerships. And note that this is not always an easy road. a survey among our financial institution clients to find out where FMO could support road to technology integration. And share with you some quotes of our clients. They perfectly set the stage for the FinForward program. So these all from our clients, and they express what they would like FMO to do for them in their tech journey. So first, a client asked us to screen relevant and trustworthy fintechs and expose them. In other words, help finding the best solutions from the range of options that exist across the world. And the client phrased this as the entities offering half-baked solutions and want to know who are the serious people in the industry. So please advise us on that. The thing that our clients ask for is to experiment those fintech products before putting them live. So basically, they're asking for a place to test solutions to find whether a solution really adds value to their organization. Third, our clients requested support in putting together the roadmap for fintech integrations. What is the ultimate fintech strategy? How do you deal with the lengthy and costly integration processes?
Thank you. It's very interesting to hear the different insights and concerns that you're getting from your clients. So how do you go about facilitating the partnerships between financial institutions and fintech? And how do you go about integrating these solutions?
A great question. And the is the FinForward program. So tackle all of these issues and help our clients integrate innovative technology solutions. Together with our partner Above and Beyond, whom you'll hear speak later on, developed FinForward. And if you'd move to the, great. So Forward is an innovation program and aims to connect African-based financial institutions, money providers, with fintech companies that come from across the world. The aim with this program is to drive inclusive growth and promote financial inclusion in the African financial industry by leveraging fintech solutions.
Can you tell us maybe a bit more about the FinForward program? How does the program exactly work from start to finish?
Yes, and there's also a supporting slide for that. So we're currently in the outreach phase, engage with financial institutions, the mobile providers, and the fintech companies to participate in this program. Once a financial institution or mobile money provider decides to participate, we'll perform a fintech opportunity scan with them. And that scan is used to define their most pressing problems and their needs. So where they stand at this stage and where do they want to go with fintech. On this scan, we'll go into our network and we'll match them with a selected group of fintechs that we select based on their needs. Instead, we will scout for solutions, and these solutions can range from lending to authentication to remittances to insurance products to data analytics, you name it, any solution. And form a due diligence process on all these solutions to make sure that the technology and their product are of the right quality. Now again, we'll present these solutions, a specific set of solutions, depending on the need of the financial institution, depending on the most optimal combination of fintechs that will bring the most value to the organization. Because of this, the FinForward program is really also about developing the right fintech strategy and the correct fintech journey. So strategic innovation program that brings both direction in your FinForward in fintech journey and also concrete technology integrations. Now, etching, the part starts because the platform functions as a tech sandbox. So you're able to test different solutions to see and to find which fintechs provide the most value to your business. You can test multiple solutions in instead of having to do that on a one-on-one basis. Now, at testing, you can move into the production phase and use the platform as the middle layer to integrate with the fintech solutions that you yourself choose. And the 9-month program will finish with demo days to demonstrate the best integrations that resulted from this program. So if you go to the next slide, it shows the benefits that this program will bring you. In summary, it's that FinForward will scout for global solutions for you. It opens your eyes to technology from across the globe, and also vet all these solutions that we present to you through our due diligence process, so you can ensure that all fintechs you work with are of quality. Help you to determine the optimal fintech implementation strategy to make sure that your institution will benefit the most. And on top of that, we of course offer the platform to test and integrate the multiple solutions. So what this basically enables you to do is work with fintechs in a very cost and efficient way. It enables you to accelerate your digital strategy and to test solutions in our tech sandbox.
Thank you. Now we have a better idea of how the FinForward program works. Maybe if you can give us 3 fintech examples that are currently on your platform and ready to integrate with financial institutions through the FinForward program?
Yes. So first one would be Harvesting, a company that is enabling financial inclusion for farmers by providing insights to financial institutions via its software. Harvesting processes a massive amount of data sets, such as weather, satellite data, economic data, so data on crops, and it applies algorithms to help reduce the risk for financing these farmers. So it aims to be sort of an agriculture intelligence engine, which will help bring speed, accuracy, and also transparency across the agricultural value chain, including its financing. So we'll accelerate the development of good and appropriate financial products and services for farmers worldwide. Now, the example that I would like to mention is FT Cash, which empowers more merchants and promotes financial inclusion using digital payments in loans. So FT Cash enables merchants to start accepting electronic payments in less than 5 minutes and only using a 2G phone, which is still important in the emerging markets. And in turn, FT Cash provides quick and collateral-free business loans with flexible repayment options and transparent finance charges. It's good. They use transaction history to determine creditworthiness instead of previous loan histories, which many merchants do not have or may not have. This example is This Is Me, which is an advanced identity verification and enhanced due diligence solutions. So it reduces fraud and ensures a seamless on-demand KYC process. So that while software allows users to onboard within minutes from anywhere across the world, it is a solution to the long and lengthy paper-based KYC processes, and by making it digital, they reduce the cost and allow any customer from anywhere to onboard and sort of show their KYC.
Okay, Monica, thank you so much for this. Now, before I hand over to Jorge from Beyond, we'll go into really depth on the platform itself. To go maybe first to our first poll question. Now, just to give you a quick question, what happens is you see up a question with multiple answers that we would like for you to pick from. keep in mind that the poll question will only be up on your screen for 30 seconds, so you have only 30 seconds to answer the question. The result would then appear momentarily after. So we're just going to launch the first question. And the first, as financial institutions, which fintech category are you most interested in? Client onboarding or customer engagement, data analytics, lending, operational efficiency, or other categories? So this question is going to be up for 30 seconds. So I guess answering the question. We'll move on just for the interest of time. Move on to the next speaker. So I'd like to introduce Jorge Ruiz, who founded Above and Beyond to lead financial service providers around the world in their digital transformation journey. Prior to founding Above and Beyond, Jorge worked at Citigroup for 18 years. In his last role, he led Citi's efforts to become a global leader in the fintech industry, defining a digital transformation strategy, launching the first global virtual accelerator, hosting 16 programs, and creating one of the largest fintech global ecosystems and implementing more than 3 solutions worldwide. At Citi, Jorge founded and led businesses in the investment, insurance, and retail industries. Mr. holds a degree in finance from the University of Texas. Jorge, thank you for joining us. We're so excited for you to be here. So tell me, Jorge, thank you. And I want to first maybe start by if you tell us a little bit about Above and Beyond, and also what you are doing in the FinForward program.
Of course. Can you hear me well? Okay. Thanks for that. And I think I have a slide to go over Above and Beyond. If you can just go there. Thank you so much. Well, as AK mentioned, we created Above and Beyond about a year ago. We are a company based in the U.S., but we work globally. We currently have businesses in different parts of the world, and we're going to go about that in a few moments. The thing that we created, it mainly focuses on 2 areas. One is to build an infrastructure that would allow banks, financial institutions of all kinds. It's not just banks, it could be insurance companies, broker-dealer houses, as well as fintech companies, to be able to connect into a network that is a global network, allow them to be more efficient in terms of connectivity. Because we know that technology is not necessarily the most important element when you think about running your business. We also focus on the build of the strategy and supporting through consultancy services to everything related to digital transformation. So those are the 2 elements that Above and Beyond does. And if we go to the next page, you're going to see some of the programs that we're currently working around the world. Okay. So we have 3 main programs. One is FinForward, which we launched at the beginning of this year in partnership with the Inter-American Development Bank. For those of you that have not heard of IDB, it's like the World Bank, which is for Latin America and the Caribbean. And the idea is to be able to connect financial institutions from Latin America to the world of fintech. A few months after we launched FinConnecta, with part of the awesome development bank from the FMO, we launched FinForward. And you heard about FinForward a few minutes ago from Lonneke. And the idea covers, this program covers Africa and also the Middle East. The concept is the same as FinConnecta, which is supporting fintechs from around the world and financial institutions from Africa, in the case of FinForward, and the Middle East, to be able to be part of this ecosystem. Going a little east of that, we have an initiative that started a few days ago. It's called that actually what it does is provides services, wants to provide services to the Southeast Asia markets, to be able to interconnect all those markets, financial institutions, and fintechs. So as you can see, the plan that we build is going around the world, and the whole idea is to create a technology that would allow the access to technology and digital transformation in a way that hasn't seen before. So if you go to the next page, please, you're going to see a little bit more detail on the platform behind this, which is called Forward, that was designed and built by us, 100% owned by us. And it's, again, the idea is to be a middleware, a marketplace that would allow fintechs, banks, and other companies that are interested in the financial space to be able to connect. If you next slide, please. Okay, thank you. And here you can see a graphic representation of what Forward does. On the side, you see the current way of integrating, which is if a fintech wants to work, in this case, with 3 banks, they integrate 3 times. And then with a bank to integrate with 4 fintechs, they need to integrate 4 times. So it becomes a web of connecting pieces, not necessarily efficient, that it's extremely expensive, and it's asking for the players to do one-to-one integrations. When you work on middleware, as good as Word, then what you have is more an image that you have on the right-hand side, which is a single connection that will allow you to have access to the rest of the players around the world. So you connect with the Forward once, and with connection, you're able to integrate to multiple services or multiple players. So that's the benefit of having a player like this in the market. If you go to the page, you're going to see what this platform has done so far in the last few months. We integrated banks in the 3 regions, in Africa, in Latin America, and in Asia. And also, we have integrated multiple fintechs from around the world. So that image, it is somehow showing what has happened so far. The idea of this webinar is also to invite everyone that is participating today to be able to be part of this ecosystem through the FinForward program, which is sponsored and subsidized by the FMO. So it's a great opportunity for companies that are based in Africa to be able to be part of this unique ecosystem we have seen has become already global. If we go to the next page, I go through some thoughts about regulation, but before we do that, we have a poll question. You can show that question,
yes,
please.
Exactly. Jorge. Yeah. So thank you, Jorge. I think well, the work that you're doing in supporting financial institutions is quite fascinating. Exactly. Before we go to the regulators, as you mentioned, let's go to the next poll question. And I think this poll question will hopefully get some of the concerns or how financial institutions mobile money provider integrate fintech question up early. So you think other areas of concern for regulation comes to fintech? Is it cybersecurity, unfair, other, or all of the above? What's regulators in this evolving fintech landscape? We've heard it many times before. Regulating too early can stifle innovation, but doing it too late can leave consumers unprotected. What is your take on this? And are you looking to support regulators with your platform?
And there's a very discussion that is happening in every market around the world, which is how fintech will have an impact in the financial industry in the specific country, obviously in each region, and lastly, global. And I think this is the time where regulators need to act very, very quickly, probably more so than other times, because time that is taking technology to evolve has shortened, and we see big changes from day to day. We heard from Monica a few minutes ago that into the last report, I don't recall who was this report from, is the big that banks don't see Fintechs to be competitors anymore, but they are partnering with them. Well, that concept has evolved again, and now the biggest step is the creation of networks, whether that is local networks or regional networks or global networks. The partnership is no longer one-to-one. It's no longer a bank, one fintech, but it's more banks or financial institutions joining networks. And then you have two types of networks. You have the closed-end networks and you have the open-end networks. And the open networks is what we're working through FinForward. And when you look at this through the eye of the regulator, that the changes in the way finance gets done have accelerated its way. So it's a very challenging time for regulators, and there are different types of those around the world. You have the ones that are more active, like you can see with Singapore or Korea or Hong Kong or the US, not US, the UK and the European Union with PSD2, extremely active, and they're really thinking of what needs to be done in order not just to protect the client's data, but also to empower them so that they can own the data rather than the financial institutions own the data. So those are examples of regulators more active on what they believe it should be the new way of doing finance. And then you have some other regulators that are just looking at what's going to happen and then probably following on that. But what it's, I think, true everywhere you go is that the regulators definitely understand what can be done next. And they are basically covering four aspects of it. One is consumer protection, data privacy, cybersecurity, and probably the most important one is how open do the institutions have their technology so that they can allow a better approach of the first three items, which is APIs, application programming interfaces, that allow institutions not just to be more open in terms of how they can share the data, but also more efficient in terms of how can they start being more digital. So I think if we were to think of one item that the regulator should be focusing on, it would be APIs. So if we go to the next page, a little bit more on the sandbox. And, the reason why we talk about this is, as we said, the element that will change everything is APIs, and this box has a very important piece of all infrastructure. When we think about, and I don't know if everyone can see this slide because I can't. I don't know if it's here. All right, there we go. So when we think about what's going on in Europe, for example, where we have PSD2, or what Korea is doing and creating a low ecosystem related of how can financial institutions test the new tech options that they will be bringing to market. They are having something to do with the data privacy? Are they secure to go to market? Are they complying with all the regulatory requirements that the specific geography is asking? And those elements are through a tech sandbox. There are various countries around the world. I'm going to say at least 30 of them are asking how to have a tech sandbox within the regulatory framework, and we have already established that, like Singapore again. That's a good example of how a tech sandbox is actually operating. And here is that you allow a safe place where financial institutions can connect and can play a role in terms of having new solutions, and for regulators to be able to see before it goes out to market, and to make sure that it will be compliant of current regulations, or analyze what regulations they need to address before something like the product they're looking at the sandbox to be in market. So it's a safe way of activating the creation of new solutions. Next page, you're going to see how we are addressing this. We, as Above and Beyond, and also, of course, within FinForward, what we did within our platform, we call it a bank bot, which actually is a sandbox where we have available data for Fintechs to test that to be connected to the better part of the network on an environment. So you don't touch production, you don't touch actual data. But elements that are within the bank bot are the same ones as if you would be connected with the banks that are participating in the network. So it's a way for Fintechs to rapidly test their solutions to ensure that they will be able to connect with the banks that are within the network. So that's an example of in our case, more in a way that it's more efficient for people to test solutions. If we go to this page, we're going to see some of the benefits of a sandbox for a regulator. So we talked about the sandbox, what the regulators are doing around the world, very summarized way, and how a tech sandbox can provide some benefits from them. So as you can see here, the idea of having such a tool is to allow them to have a secure and controlled environment to be able to test new solutions, be able to know that the data privacy and cybersecurity within the requirements of the law, of the geography that we're talking about, to be able to learn how FinTech is evolving and how the financial institutions and the mobile money service providers are collaborating around them, and to expose these practices that are around the world. So when you think about a tech sandbox for regulators, it's probably the first step that can be taken in order to support the ecosystem to grow to a more digitized environment. So those are the thoughts we have in terms of tech sandbox, and I think we have a next poll question. AK? There you go. Do you want me to go through it?
Go ahead, please go ahead. You can test the audience.
Good.
So
good.
So
we have the poll question up in. There you go. Okay, this is a very rapid. So from a scale of 1 to 5, how beneficial do you find the use of a tech sandbox? The more, right?
Yes, I think a high scale, yeah.
Good.
Very much, Jorge, for this very fascinating work that you're doing, and I think you gave us a very comprehensive overview of really how you can support regulators in this fast-moving fintech landscape. So I'm actually conscious of the fact that we're quickly running out of time. What receiving some questions, which I would like to address if possible. So Jorge and Loneke, keep on standby. I will read out some of the questions that we are receiving. Okay, so we have the first question coming from Sony Gitu from the Graduate Institute in Switzerland. To know, first of all, how do we improve that collection when we currently do not have aggregated database? So there's actually two questions. The question is, what is required to improve on the challenges, culture, and institutional pose for open data usage in Africa? So, may you want to take a stab at that?
Of course. Hold on. All right. So about the data collection, obviously, once you have an interconnected ecosystem like ours, if there is in terms of how to use the data that is in place, because our network, it doesn't pull data that is not allowed to, it's not authorized to do so. So our network is basically like a router or like a Wi-Fi router. We just see information flow. We don't collect any data. But in the case that there will be a requirement of collecting data, let's say a regulator was to collect data, or there is an aggregation of financial institutions that they want to be able to collect data from their different subsidiaries, they can definitely do so through our tool. That will be more efficient than going one by one, because since you're connected, you have the access of pulling all the data. What's in here, and I think it goes back to the regulatory requirements, is who can use that data, who can pull that data and aggregate it. So as long as the information is so the data requirements or the data pooling is under compliance, that's something that can easily be done through our aggregator.
Thank you. I don't know. Okay, do you want to comment on this question? Maybe open data usage in Africa.
Jorge covered it well. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll move on to the next question. We have a question coming in from Joel Patinwade. He's with the two partners. He wants to know, first of all, if you could speak a little bit about the decision to become central in the integration process. So as he understands it, you have set up a hub. So why was that necessary? And part of the question is, what is the profit model?
So I take it that's for me, right?
Sure. Sorry.
Yeah, all right. Well, first, the need for having an aggregator, I think we explain a bit the benefits of integrated one to many rather than one to one, and I think that was the biggest need. And as around the world, and we launched the different programs that we have done, we really see the benefit for the different players. So I think what we have built and what FinForward brings to the market will definitely accelerate the way people interact with money through technology. I think it's a benefit for all, not just financial institutions, but also for users. Users can see the launch of new solutions a lot more rapidly than it used to be. Just example, we just come back from Singapore Fintech Festival, which it was an amazing event, a 5-day event, 25,000 people attending, and we win the festival. We had a workshop where we integrated a fintech coming from Latin America to a bank that is based in Singapore. The integration was done in 3 hours. Some that used to be 6 months to a year task, we were able to do it in 3 hours because both the players were already part of our network, and we part of the network in less than 2 weeks. So that declaration for those that have had some experience in terms of integrating technology, has something that has not been seen before in the world, and is really accelerate what the industry is doing today. Revenue model is very simple. For financial institutions, we have a subscription-based once they integrate, which it will depend on into how many fintechs they are integrating. And for the tech, there's no cost to join the program. And once there's business going through their pipes, then we take a revenue sharing. The same as Apple does with the iTunes store, exactly the same model.
before AK goes to the next question, if I can add to that, the participation fee for any financial institution or mobile money provider to join the FinForward program is mainly sort of subsidized by FMO. So we largely sponsor the whole program, participating financial institutions, small fee depending on the size of their institution. Back to you for the next question.
Apologies for this, just like another technical difficulty. I think you can.
Yes, we can very well.
Okay, good. I'll just move on to the questions. Maybe I'll try to take maybe 3 more here before we close it down. There was a couple of questions really looking at regulation and from a legal perspective. One coming in from Florian GIZ. He wants to know if you can elaborate a little bit on how actors in practice have applied the letter from a sandbox. So how have they applied? Having experience works with regulate in use X sandbox in practice and yourselves. So this is the first question, and then I wanted to know what happens in the consumer protection space and has built on lessons from the microfinance industry.
Sorry, you're breaking up a bit. So can you repeat the first question, please?
In principle. So that's a little bit.
Happy to answer, but you were breaking up. So do you mind repeating the question?
Yeah. Yes, the question was, have regulators applied, how did they apply their learnings using a tech sandbox?
Thank you. Regulators that have launched tech sandbox. Hear me? Yeah. Okay. So the best use of the tech sandbox has been to be able to So it's to allow financial institutions to test solutions with the regulator faster, because it used to be before a tech sandbox that they had to submit first the project before they even start to work with a new solution. So in this case, the idea is that they don't need to present any project, any documentation. They just go to the sandbox, they present the solution as it is, they do the thing, and the regulator is able to see it and when reading documents. So it really accelerates the process of the regulator to see how compliant this new solution could be or would be, and on the top of that, what do we need in order to make it happen, if that's what the regulator wants to do in order to issue new norms for the market. So it's which is the result of what has already been a sandbox, and probably the one that comes to mind is Singapore, where they've been able to issue multiple new norms based on what they have seen at the sandbox, which are probably a little bit different than others, because it's not that you have to first necessarily go through it, but it's you get with a small set of clients and then take it to the regulator to see, depending on how was the response to that. But I think if we were to summarize what's the most beneficial aspect of it so far, and on the mark that they have applied this is the efficiency on allowing new solutions to go to market, which at the end benefits the users. To the next question that was about the data privacy and data protection, I think the most relevant use of a new norm, it's as Annabella that is here with me from my team just tell to say it, is PSD2. So PSD2 is the norm that launched in Europe probably 8 years ago, and it's coming to effect at the beginning of next year, where all the financial institutions, they need to open APIs that what they do is actually allow third parties to come in and pull data. The reason why they are doing this is because through that lens, the owner of the data will be the people. The people will define what they want to do with the data rather than the financial institutions themselves. So the change on how data is being used and how it is protected changing every day as we speak, and PSD2 is a great example of that. I hope that answers the questions that were asked.
Thank you, Jorge. I think yeah, I'll just move on to one more question. It's coming in from Ruth Duek Mbeba with the Mastercard Foundation. She wanted to know, maybe address to you, Lonneke, what is FMO's experience in bringing together local Fintechs with local financial institutions? That's the first question. And the second part was, what happened to B2C Fintechs? Do you provide any support to them as well?
Yeah, and, can you repeat the first one, please?
Yes, it's been quite difficult managing the network issues. I'll try to repeat the first question again. So it's addressed to FMO. Ruth wanted to know what is FMO's experience in bringing together local Fintechs with local financial institutions. Lonneke, are you able to address this question?
Yeah. I have issues understanding the question. What relations of local financial institutions with Fintechs, or the other way around?
So what has been so far bringing together local Fintechs with local financial institutions?
Okay. So what we've experienced so far in talking to our African-based financial institutions is they're all aware of what's happening inside their own markets. So, for example, in South Africa, they know the South African Fintechs that are around them, but they're very interested to hear of other African Fintechs, so outside of South Africa, but in the continent. And of course, also even beyond that, outside of Africa, what's happening across the globe. So experience is that it's difficult to keep track of all the developments across the world, and very interested to know. An important point for them, though, is that the Fintechs that we want to bring them or that we introduce to them should have a clear understanding of the African environment and the African operation mode, so to say. And that is something that we also take into account when we scout the Fintechs and perform the due diligence on them. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, Lonneke, I think, I would have loved to answer all the questions here, but really, first of all, I mean, it has been quite difficult from my end to manage the network connection, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to end it there. What I'm going to tell to all the participants is we are going to take note of all the questions that you sent out to us through the chat box. and we will forward them to both Jorge and Lonica and the team, as well as the team at FMO and Above and Beyond, in an attempt to address all the questions that you've had. So I think it is time for me to wrap this session. So I want to thank Lonica and Jorge for speaking to us at this webinar. I also want to thank Annabella for her support and the whole FinForward team for collaboration. Last but not least, I want to thank the audience for sticking with us and for your engagement. Unfortunately, we couldn't answer all your questions, but we will try to address those, as I mentioned earlier, through all our channels. Lastly, please, I'd like to remind you, please do not forget to fill out the survey right after this. So thank you again for all your time, and until next time, goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
What kind of Q&A came